Beta Tower, Canal 4939, Paraneri Yankee runway 05.
Canal 4939, Madeira Tower, wind 325 at 5, runway 05 cleared to land.
Runway 05 cleared to land, Canal 4939.
Madeira Tower, Portugal. 233 request push and start.
Air Portugal 233, Madeira Tower, pushback approved. Face southwest.
Face southwest, Air Portugal 233.
Negative, face southwest.
Face southwest, Air Portugal 233.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Departure checks completed. Bypass inserted. Locking gear. Release parking brakes, please. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel. Preset parking brakes. Waiting your confirmation for your engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Madeira Tower, Portugal 233, request taxi to the active.
Air Portugal 233, runway 05 taxi via Alpha, Charlie.
Unlocking gear.
Taxi 205 via Alpha and Charlie, Air Portugal 233.
Tow track disconnected. Bypass pingimos. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Tower, Air Portugal 233, holding short runway 05.
Air Portugal 233, backtrack runway 05. Call when ready for departure.
Backtrack 05, will call when ready for departure. Portugal 233. to wait for the Tower Portugal 233 ready for departure.
Air Portugal 233, Madeira Tower, wind 325 at 5, runway 05, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 05, Air Portugal 233. Knots. 100. V1.
All aircraft be advised information whiskey now current.
Positive rate, get up.
08. Air Portugal 233, contact Madeira departure 119.605.
119.605 Air Portugal 233. Madeira departure Air Portugal 233 with you 1,700 feet.
Air Portugal 233, Madeira departure, good evening, identified, climb to flight level 180.
Flight level 180 Air Portugal 233. Speed check flaps 1. Speed check flaps up. Aspetta, non prendere this.
Air Portugal 233, contact Lisbon Center 119.55.
Contact Lisbon Center 119.55 Air Portugal 233. Lisbon Center Air Portugal 233 with you, Angel, flight level 160.
Air Portugal 233, Lisbon Center. Good evening. Radar contact. Climb to flight level 360.
Flight level 360 Air Portugal 233. So this is Flight Simulator 2020. I have given up on 2024 after that last flight with about 10 FPS. It's ridiculous. Some flights I get 40, others I get 20, others I get 10, others I get 40 again. I just don't know what's going on. So I gave up. And like me, many other simmers also have given up on FS 2024, unfortunately. It's just not good enough. Maybe one day. Just not today. Some pretty passengers there. Nice little flight attendant. Passengers. Nice seats. Look at that. We have a tap Portugal. This is the business class. Pretty cool. Right. See if I can get back to the seat. There we go. And we have that warning from the expected fuel on board. This is something been seeing lately from SimBrief. Fuel seems to be insufficient, especially for the alternate. So we wouldn't have enough fuel to turn into Madrid right now, and we certainly have to reach Oporto. Not entirely sure why Madrid. Seems quite unusual. Should be Lisbon, but it's what we got. So let's start preparing our data for Porto. So looks like it's a dry runway, so we got 1900 Zulu, so 1 hour ago, one hour and a half ago. Let's refresh this, see if there's a newer one. There it is, 200 hours, wind 140 at 9 knots, Kavak, 10 degrees, 0.7 dew point, QNH 995. This is our preliminary data. We're going to insert into our flight. We will get back to it in a moment, confirm nothing changed, or if something changed, comply with it. So 10 degrees. And now 140 at 9. 409. We're gonna make a full flap landing because Porto will give us some stress if we land with long landings because of the backtracking. So let's check out our flight plan first. So we're expecting runway 17 via Asimov. So runway 17 is the one with ILS. So that's what we're going to pick. ILS 17. Yeah. Asimov, there it is. Is there any stars? We'll just wait for the clearance. Because there's, I think it's the Asimov transition. Let's see if there's, yeah, there's Adnov. Well, we'll leave it at that for now. And if we need to change, we'll change. We're just doing this now because I want the flight plan to be completed so that the expected fuel on board gets a bit more accurate. As we move forth, and we're going to have some tiny tailwind. Not yet. Actually, this arrow is going to change upwards as we move forth. As we can see here in our weather charts, the FARPs, as you can see here, the FARPs will slightly, this is where we at right now, somewhere over here. So the FARPs are kind of sideways. But as we move up, they will start slightly turning with this little half here, or third of flight. We'll have some tailwind, so that's going to help us ever so slightly. This is 300, flight level 300. Currently we're at flight level 360, so we might get, no, it's the same at that 340. See if we get, and that's 390. No, yeah, the winds are predominantly rotating in this area. This is where the whirlpool of the major storm we had today is. So as you can see, it kind of twirls here. It's twirling. So this is the major storm formation. This is the like the clouds And we're flying right into this hole here in the clouds, and then we're going to get some turbulence over here, pretty sure. Unfortunately, Fenix does not have a proper weather radar, so we can't really be sure. Try and search for this aircraft I'm seeing here. Oh, there it is. Like I was saying, Fenix doesn't have a weather radar, so it says tilt here because we followed procedures, turn it on, but there's no radar here, fortunately. There doesn't seem to, I've talked to this in the last stream, there doesn't seem to be any plans by Fenix to integrate the proper radar. Not currently, that is. Which is a shame, to be honest. They, like I said in the last stream, they claim it's something to do with the way they create these panels. So like the ECAM and the EPFD, they do it in a way they cannot project something here, like an external data, like the weather radar. They claim that if Asobo, so the producers of this simulator, released a proper API, so the software they could work with, an SDK, for the weather radar, they could actually attempt to integrate it here. But since they do not, they say it's too much manpower, too much man hours, I'd say, to implement it. But unfortunately, in days like these where we have this turbulence, see the airplane swinging, there's a wind change here, we are getting ever so slightly some minor tailwind. If there is turbulence in that last third as we see it, we're not going to be able to, counteract it somehow. We're not going to be able to see it and try to go around it. Mind you, currently the planes that do have weather radar, it's not really accurate or realistic in the way that probably Fenix and other producers would like, but it's sufficient for now. It kind of works versus not working at all. So it's not the best, not the ideal. There's our plane over there. Hello. It's not a ideal weather radar system, but it is a weather radar system. Considering how Tolis, I'm sorry, not Tolis, FS Labs, PMDG, Inibuild, they all implemented it, and PMDG was quite against it. If people follow this, PMDG was like, no, we don't want to implement it. Probably for the same reasons as Inibuilds, Fenix says they wouldn't do it, but they did. Now, currently, besides Fenix, from the top of my head, only fly-by-wire, talking about major players, only fly-by-wire doesn't have a proper radar, which includes, of course, the Headwind A330, which is based on the fly-by-wire A320neo, as well as the fly-by-wire A380. None of them have weather radar. Is that a standard? I don't think it is. I don't think it should be. The tech doesn't work out, fine, but do something. Don't stop you from, shouldn't stop you from adding this feature, my point of view. I don't know if iFly 737 has a weather radar, to be honest. I'm not sure. iFly is also one of the planes I was looking into, but I decided to stick with Airbus for now. Can't afford them all, unfortunately. I'm not paid to fly, so I fly what I can afford. So I really wanted the high-fly 737, but can't afford it. Sorry. So I don't really know much about it. So no ATC required from our boys back on mainland, which is good. We're getting some mild turbulence here. It's probably where we were expecting to get it. Let me check the weather on active sky to see if there's turbulence reported in this area. Yep, there it is. We're right in a turbulence area. I'm actually going to report. I wish you could see this, but I can't. This is an external window, but you can't pre-rep turbulence. Oh my, I think I'm going to have to turn on the seatbelt signs. Alright, just posted on active sky, and now seatbelt signs on. And unfortunately our flight attendants will interpret this as a preparation for descent. But actually no, it said continue with your seatbelts fastened. Yeah, this is a turbulence area. I was expecting it further down along the route, but there it is. This is our ETP, so we're gonna get some clearance pretty soon. Confirm our approach to Porto. Should be 17, I just not sure about the transition. There's only one transition there, so that's probably it. But he is going to tell me what to expect. For Lisbon, usually it's P6 coming from the south. Coming from the north, there's another transition. It's always the same. Porto, not so familiar with it, fortunately. Did I leave it on? No, I can't really increase the sim rate because I'm afraid this wind will throw us off, so we're gonna stay here. It's until this waypoint here, Vabam. This is where the main area of reported turbulence is. I wish I could pile in a couple of windows, move them from my second monitor to here, but it doesn't work like that. I would need to change my display to show you my monitor instead of Flight Simulator. There we go, 40 minutes in, we're facing some turbulence. It's hard to say if you don't feel it, but this is actually pretty bad turbulence. You can see it from the outside and you'll see. The airplane is dancing. I flew a lot of times and I don't remember it being like dancing, like waving. It's more like shaking. Sometimes you get some waving, yes, but not like this. So this is, I guess, active sky trying to make a sense of what turbulence might be. Although honestly, I don't think it's realistic. Let's increase to 2 times speed. Should be able to keep it up even with the wind. So this is where we are right now. We're 2/3 of the way. I would say probably more closer to the middle, and 3/3. 2/3, sorry. 1/3. So 1/3 here, second third, third third. We're right in the middle of second third, close to the middle of flight. And turbulence is just not giving up. We're almost out of the turbulence window. As soon as we pass Vabim and start turning left, this turbulence will stop. Hopefully. We could climb, but the report says turbulence is between flight level 200 and 400. Fortunately, I cannot go that high, like 410. If I was in a 350, I would certainly do it. 321 lacks some oomph. There we go, reaching Vabim, and turbulence seems to be stopping, like I said it would. And we're in the clear. Turning into Vabim. Let's increase to 4 times as soon as it stabilizes. Let's go 4 times. There it is. It's actually a beautiful flight when you have all these clouds. During the day it's more beautiful. Oh, by the way, in the last stream, someone asked me, after the stream actually, where do I get these beautiful looking textures? It's, I took it from FlightSim.to, FlightSim.to. There's a whole bunch of cool textures there. This one was made by a guy called EISI, or IC, or AC. It's actually pretty good. I actually talked to him about some modifications, and he did it, and now it's accurate. It's depicting the A321neo, but this is of course the CEO. Still waiting for a proper 321neo. Sorry, fly-by-wire, but your simulation is not proper. So he designed the plane according to the real deal, so the CSTJR, that's the A321, real-life A321neo, with the retro livery for Portugal, at Oporto. It's the one we're flying, is the CEO, but in his spirit, he's a neo. On his ID card, he's a CEO, but in his spirit, he's a neo. Coming up to Asmar. This is where I was expecting to see more turbulence, but actually came before that. This is a cloudy area. We can't really see it, but cloud coverage is, I would say, 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. So it's pretty thick.
Lisbon Center, Shamrock 76 Hotel Juliet, flight level 340.
Weather in Porto, it's actually pretty stable. Let's check the METAR. Or METAR, whatever you want to call it. So let's refresh. Yeah, it continues to be KVOC. Q&A just changed actually. Let's go back to performance. Let's reduce speed a little bit so we don't spiral toward that.
Lisbon Center, Air Portugal 1549. Good evening. Flight level 080.
So 995 actually didn't change. Temperature 10, wind is 140, 11, so 140 and
Continue climb to flight level 370.
11.
Air Portugal 15.
Slightly increased. So we're going to continue with flaps full. I was trying to explain that why I'm picking flaps full, and I'm going to show you why. So let's go back to Porto. Let's pick up the airport data. So if I land on 17, which is this one right here, and I, for some reason, well, it's actually not a problem for Watch 7. Sorry about that. It's a problem when you land on the opposite end. If you come from 3.5 to land all the way, if you delay your exit, you're only going to have these two. This is a high-speed exit. Let me zoom in. This is a high-speed exit, and then there's these two, which are basically one. And if you're unlucky and can brake in time, you're going to go all the way down to this turning point here. So you only have one exit. So doing a normal approach and landing from 3.5, you might get to the high speed one, and that would justify landing flaps 3. On the other hand, if you miss it, I think these exits are too far. You might be able to get it out of here. Turning to Alpha 3 is not an option, because basically that's where most of the planes taxi out to go to 17. They either go through Foxtrot or they go through Alpha. So exiting through here is quite risky if the planes are coming this way. So most likely they'll tell you to vacate to the, if you come from the 3.5, vacate right. In Lisbon it's quite different because we have multiple exits, and config flap 3 is pretty standard. I'm going to use full flaps here, mainly because the runway is quite extensive. I just want to leave as early as I can, and I will be aiming for Bravo. Let's see if I can get it, which is this one here. Actually not Bravo, Delta. Bravo is this one, so the other way around. So I'll be aiming for Delta here to go to this apron Sierra. Well, that's what I'm going to try to do. No, I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, but it is my goal. So flaps 3 will give you an extensive, we can actually do that calculation here. So let's apply the METAR. Let's go for 71, I think. Doesn't matter actually. So this is landing with medium auto brake. I usually do reverse. And now manual land left. Flaps full gives you 1,500 meters of stopping point. So if I choose flaps 3, it will give you more or less 100 meters. And that's for an attempt to full stop. We're never going to full stop. So yeah, config flaps 3 gives you a little more depth so that you make a smoother, I would say, landing. In airports like Faro, it's completely out of the question. Other than that, it's just an option. At least for me it is. Real life operations, SOPs, they have to follow what the company says. Let's try increase the rate. Hope we don't crash and burn. You have no idea. Sometimes I do 4 times and I take my eyes off the screen. When I come back, the plane is doing a flip. And all sorts of warnings are blaring. So this is a risky move. So we're coming up on Asmar, actually. Then we're going to go all the way up north. If we went to Lisbon, we would turn right here and we'll go directly to this area here and do a little turn, then go back and land. To Faro, same, we come from this point here and then turn directly to Sagres, more or less, and then go to Faro. These are the 3 main airports in Portugal: north, center, and south. Lisbon is the biggest airport, but it's also the most jammed airport. See if it sticks the landing on this turn. I set my ATC to have auto reply, so if I miss, I'm sure I won't miss the call if they call me. So coming down to Porto, it's pretty smooth, no real significant weather, according to Active Sky. For those that don't know, Active Sky is a weather injector. Some people would say it's a scam because Flight Simulator can also do weather injection on its own. But Active Sky has some pretty cool features, such as wake turbulence and all sorts of little small details that regular Flight Simulator weather does not. So is it a scam? Well, some people will call scams to anything they feel it's duplicated, right? I've used Active Sky for all the simulators I've been through. Yes, there's a weather injection from Flight Simulator itself, but tell me once it was really realistic. Let's turn off acceleration because we're reaching the top of descent. So our passengers are back in their seats where they should be. We're just gonna wait for the call for the clearance. So we got a first restraint. It's 110, so that's probably what's gonna give me 110 altitude clearance. So we're 20 miles out. More or less 25 miles out of the top of descent. Let's see if it gives me the clearance or not. You should never call for ready for descent before they give you the clearance, because the BeyondATC will go nuts if you do that. Just a tip for those that aren't familiar with it. Anytime now, ATC. Anytime now. just as expected. Except expect runway 17 via the ASMO 3 Mike Air Portugal 223. All right, let's confirm in our flight plan. So runway 17 correct via the ASMO 3 Mike, it's correct. So confirmed, but they're going to call ready for descent. Lisbon Center, Air Portugal 233, ready for descent. You have to really be slow because it tends to mishear me.
Portugal 233, ASMO 3 Mike, runway 17, descend to flight level 180.
Flight level 180, Air Portugal 233. So unfortunately it didn't clear me directly to 11,000, but no problem. Oh, 180, I was going to go for 80, no, 180. 180. Alright, we're on top of descent. Let's wait for the green dot. And there we go. Following the green dot as best as we can. More drag, let's extend the spoilers out. Speed brakes. Let's keep it up. We're right on the verge of the buffer here. Actually, I think we are in the buffer, aren't we? No, just above it. See it there. As we descend, air density will move the buffer down a little bit, give us more leverage.
Contact Madrid Center 118.275. Ryanair 56 Juliet Alpha.
Close the speed brakes now. If it calls in for more drag, we'll just add more speed brakes. This is because we're having a little more of tailwind, as I told you earlier we would have. There it is. 24 knots. It's not directly on R6, but EFOB is still below limits. Not sure what's going on here. I might as well just start adding more fuel, extra fuel, because of this. Something very recent with SimBrief expected fuel. The planned fuel doesn't seem to be enough. Anyway, let's go for our performance and let's, let's confirm our METAR again just to be sure. $9.95, then 140 at 11, nothing changed as of now. Yep, it's completely the same. Zoom in. Great. We're picking up the first VOR, 71 miles. That's the Porto VOR. We're 70 miles from Porto Airport. Follow all right on the performance on the green dot.
Lisbon Center, Air Portugal 437 X-ray, descending via inbound to Bravo, flight level 251.
Air Portugal 437 X-ray, Lisbon Center, radar contact. Air Portugal 437 X-ray, contact Lisbon approach 125.1 tree.
So we're in the clouds, some mild turbulence. Can't see anything outside, which is always scary. Actually, usually I turn on my landing lights. There it is. So I can at least get a glimpse of something as the clouds come in and become more visible for the other planes. It's not a prerequisite.
Good evening. Through flight level 160 for flight level 190 directed bid. Ryanair 7 Alpha Mike, Lisbon Center, identified. Climb to flight level 380. Climb to flight level 380, Ryanair 7 Alpha Mike. Lisbon Center, Tomjet 1 Juliet Echo, flight level 329. Tomjet 1 Juliet Echo, Lisbon Center, radar contact.
It's going to clear me to descend further. Probably till the next constraint. Before that, I think he's going to transfer me to Porto approach, somewhere over this curve here. We should have been cleared for flight level 070 by now, but we'll see what it does. Coming up a little high. We're still on the performance though. So this constraint doesn't mean you need to be on this flight, on this altitude. You just need to be above it. So it says here 110. I should be anything above it. But following the performance green dot over there, and it's going to stop here at 180. So the green dot will start descending, and it's not giving me clearance to go below it, to continue follow it. I could override it, but I would have to ask him to descend because he's counting on me to keep the last given altitude. If I go below it, it's going to give all sorts of alarms in his screen. There it is, Porto approach. 120.91 Air Portugal 223. Switch me. There we go. Porto approach Air Portugal 233 with your flight level 180. ADNOV transition, copy. Expect ILS runway 17 via the ADNOV transition, QNH 09995, Air Portugal 233. Yeah, I'm gonna follow the ADNOV transition. That's what I said, dude, come on. Clear for the ADNOV transition to runway 17, QNH 09995, Air Portugal 233. Come on. There we go. Flight level 110, Air Portugal 233. too late, really above the green dot.
Porto, Ryanair 75
Let's see if I can catch up.
Good evening. Flight level 263 with the numbers.
Just extend the speed brakes, let it go nose down, see if the dive will put us closer to the green dot. Should be at something like 09 or 0 something
QN80
at this point here, but we'll see where it can get us.
Ryanair 75 Bravo Quebec.
There's the magenta dot, that's the magenta dot, that's the 10,000 feet barrier, so at below that altitude we need to decrease our speed to 250 knots.
Cross Adnovat or above 4,000 feet.
So
Cleared IL
it's going to be
at
tight.
17, Ryanair 75 Bravo Quebec.
All aircraft be advised information tango now current QN809995.
Take. Oh, there's the performance dot right there. No, we did it. We got it. But now we're gonna plateau here again. So doesn't matter. Well, let's turn on our landing lights for now, just to be visible. So, fun fact: first stage on these switches extends the lights. Flight level 060, Air Portugal 233. There. Here we go. Go after it, boy. Like I was saying, the first stage of these switches extends the lights, and then when you bring it all the way up, on second stage you really turn them on. Some pilots call these the photon brakes because the fact of they need to be extended, they create drag. So any drag will help aside from your speed brakes. Extending your lights usually helps as well. I am not entirely sure Fenix modeled that, but if they're so adamant to be realistic, I'm pretty sure it's there. If it's not, they're thinking about it. Talking about the photon brakes, of course. So we're going to reach 6,000 feet, way in the approach phase. Hopefully this top of it's coming back, there it is. So the blue arrow will tell you where you're going to reach your assigned altitude. So we're assigning 6,000 feet. This is the blue altitude here, or flight level 060, and then it's telling you where you're going to reach it. So we are going to reach it just above this steer point here, where there's a deceleration right there. That's the let me zoom in for you. So there's this this magenta D, that's decelerations. There's a decelerant to accommodate the speeds for the approach. And the idea is to maintain ourselves within these constraints, but try our best to reach 4,000 feet before that, but ATC didn't allow us. We're only clear for 6,000. So let's prepare our plane for one final METAR confirmation. Nine and 95, 10, 14, 10, 140, 10, so no change. So let's go for our approach plate. And here we are. We're right on on this turn here.
Air Portugal 233, descend to 4,000 feet, QNH 09995.
4,000 feet, QNH 09905, Air Portugal 233.
Air Portugal 233, cleared direct ADNOV, cross ADNOV at or above 4,000 feet, cleared ILS runway 17.
Maintain 4,000 feet, clear for the ILS runway 17, Air Portugal 233. Still too high. Let's turn on our landing system. Let's warn our passengers. So everything is set up. Let's extend our speed brakes because we're going too fast now. Because it's trying to keep up, as you can see. Cabin's ready. Let's reset our warning here. Flight attendants, reset. Alright. Altitude back to us, so 09905. Here we go. Zero 9905. Take it easy, boy. Let's descend our altitude for the approach. Set it for 3,000. We are clear for the ILS, so it's following the ILS. Speed check flaps 1. We got no radar, so having these oscillations, we probably have turbulence. There's no way for us to know. Speed check flaps 2. We're right on the nose, so let's establish the ILS. Still waiting for the transfer to the tower. It's not happening yet. Minimum is 200 radio altimeter. Contact Porto Tower 118.005, Air Portugal 233. Transfer me, transfer me. Porto Tower, Air Portugal 233, established ILS runway 17 to land.
Air Portugal 233.
Flaps 3.
Wind 140 at 10, runway 17 cleared to land.
Clear to land, runway 17, Air Portugal 233. Right, whenever we're getting these so auto brake land, spoilers armed, flaps 3 set, we're gonna drop our gear. It's gonna be our little secondary speed brake. It's gonna help us get down to that VAP. It should be something like 142 knots. Which is 143 knots, the speed, approach speed, VAP. Okay, flaps full. Check flaps full. And there it goes down to the VAP speed. Now that our gear is down, let's turn on our takeoff and runway turn off for the nose gear. And we're gonna wait for minimums to
1000.
turn off our autopilot and make a manual landing as the book demands. It's a nice visual approach. The wind is slightly from our left, so we're landing inhibit.
Ryanair 92 Foxtrot Whiskey, holding short, runway 17. Ryanair 92 Foxtrot Whiskey, hold short of 17.
$500.
Hold short of 17, Ryanair 92 Foxtrot Whiskey.
500.
Check.
400.
Check.
100 above.
100 above. Check.
Minimum.
Confirm. Continue. Nice little flare, smooth like silk. Auto brake engaged. Reverse. Rollout. Check. Out of reverse. Auto brakes off.
Air Portugal 233, exit left at Delta.
We'll exit at Delta, Air Portugal 233. Just where we wanted to go anyway. I'm putting it offset from center line so we don't get those nasty bumps. I was just retracting the spoilers and now retracting the flaps as well. Alright.
Pedimos que permaneçam sentados com os cintos apertados até que o sinal seja desligado. Queiram, por favor, confirmar que levam convosco toda a bagagem de mão. De forma a evitar a queda de objetos todos, recomenda-se precaução na abertura das bagageiras. Desejamos que a viagem tenha agradado e esperamos vê-los em breve a bordo da aberta.
Ryanair 92 Foxtrot Whiskey, backtrack runway 17. Call when ready for departure.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just started. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened.
Backtrack runway 17, call when ready.
Let's go slow here, waiting for clearance.
Air Portugal 233, contact ground 121.04.
121.04, Air Portugal 233. Let's continue taxing. So we're going to go for gate 10. Ground Air Portugal 233, good afternoon. Request taxi to gate 10. 10, probably better. Saying 10.
Air Portugal 233, welcome to Francisco S.A. Carnero. Gate 10 taxi via Delta. Bravo, Sierra 3, Sierra, Sierra 2, Sierra 1.
Taxi to gate 10 via Delta, Bravo, Sierra 3, Sierra, Sierra 2, Sierra 1, Air Portugal 233. Sierra, Delta, Bravo, Sierra 3. Probably best to look at the charts, right? Yes, sirree.
Easy 7 to Foxtrot Kilo, contact Porto Tower 118.005, bye-bye.
So,
Contact tower 118.
am I going the wrong way? I think I know this is the right way.
Have a good
The
evening.
very last one on the left, right there. So let's call GSX and tell it where we're going. yeah. So this is something GSX does frequently, place these ground units for some reason in your taxi. Just ignore them, just go through them. Doesn't even make sense they're riding on the taxiway. Should be riding on either roads that are adjacent to the aprons. That's where ground traffic usually goes. We can turn on off our engine and also have all these nasty lights on for some reason, because I completely forgot to run my after landing checklists. Simple. So our gate is the very last one right there. All the way, follow this line here. It's very unusual. I think it's the first time we're going to park there. Going to be a little man there, or do we have? We do have a panel there. Sierra 10 confirmed. It's ID'd as a 321. Now let's follow the VGGS. Someone asked me if doing this single engine was easier or worse. It's not easier, but it's not that bad. It's easier because you have more granular acceleration, if you understand what I'm saying. But sometimes the asymmetry will cause you to veer off slightly to the dead engine, which is absolutely understandable if you had too much thrust. 3, 2, little more power. Don't know why is this is in feet, but okay, we're on the mark. Parking brake set and engine 2 off on the blocks. Let's request deboard. Here comes the huge jetway with the blonde girl. MK Studios sceneries always have the blonde girl. Either that or GSX jetways, not sure. Let's see if it enters the cockpit as it usually does. Actually, it's having trouble. Oh, didn't go through the cockpit. That's a plus. All right, we're ready. Start deboarding.
Passengers deboarding starting.
And there they go. All right, that's much smoother than the last few flights I've done. So this jetway is very opaque. We can't really see the passengers, but we can see them go out through Terminal 10, which is pretty cool. And we're unloading our cargo here. Don't know why it's unloading crates, but because we loaded bags in Madeira. Maybe there was more crates inside. So that's the gangway for the jetway, and there goes the passengers. All right, so yeah, that one's done. All right, so went much better than last flight, like I was saying. Just going to shut everything down. We got our external power here. Forgot to turn on the bleed, but they can handle it. Right. Let's check our wheels for temperature. 195 on the left side. So we've passed 5 minutes after landing. I'm gonna turn on the brake fan for a few minutes to cool it down. Just these brakes here till they reach below 180 degrees according to SOPs, and that's it. Should have turned this off when we landed, but this is functional, so apologies. Turn off our transponder because we're no longer moving or flying. And secure aircraft we should know. We should now be able to secure the aircraft. Alrighty. No smoking can remain on because we don't fly in these flights. Don't smoke in these flights, I mean. We also don't fly. We're standing pretty much still on our seat here, but yeah. So again, shame we don't have this little panel working correctly or at all. I mean, we got stuff like this. We can open the window. Why can't we have weather radar? Come on. Let's do a petition to Fenix. Try our best to make this happen someday. All right. Oh, why? Don't come in here, please. There's no room for you. And you're too young. Don't come in here. Oh, what's going on with these people? Their feet are digging into the ground. Why? Yeah, these characters there. There's no room for you people in here. Practical joke. Anyway, see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed it. Very few people are watching these days, but I'm sure you guys appreciate it once in a lifetime. Our brakes have cooled down. We can turn this off. And there it goes. Right? Cheerios. Bye-bye.
Ryanair 75 Bravo Quebec. Ramp 23 taxi via Delta. Bravo, Sierra 3, Sierra, Sierra 2.
Ramp 23 via Delta, Bravo, Sierra 3, Sierra, Sierra 2, Ryanair 75.